Hello, Texas. Sadly, I couldn't wait to get home to make this one. This one has to be made. And I'm out here in Texas. Which part in Texas is of absolutely no concern, especially when I have especially when I have retarded fuck ass haters that stay in Texas. So 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 I'd rather keep it to myself and let them find out for themselves. But nevertheless, yep, it's me again. They hate they hate us. This is why they give a fuck about us at the same time. I am your host, JD Miles. The MGTOWs they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time as always, which is why they keep us relevant to this very day, and I'm back again. God damn, I miss saying my intro. But back to business. For tonight's topic of discussion, is it really a male loneliness epidemic? Or is it really a male solitude epidemic? I think I made a video about this before. If so, if so, I'll make sure to add part two in the title. While I'm out here on business, something occurred to me. Everybody want to talk about male loneliness this, male loneliness that. And for those of y'all who see my skit in my community tab, y'all already know where I'm about to go with this one. But but here but during my whole entire research of their research and findings when it comes to the male loneliness epidemic, I couldn't help but to find certain, not only a whole lot of flaws, but certain flaws that 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 rubbed me the wrong way. Now, I'm not gonna sit out here in this cold weather. Well, it's actually chilly, but not cold. But I digress. I'm not gonna sit here and bore y'all on the details. I'm gonna just cut to the very chase. Now, we hear all this talk about the male loneliness epidemic, but there's so many flaws in their research and their studies. And yes, Uncle JD is more than willing to debate anybody on this matter. So let's point out the very important flaws. One of the flaws, one of the flaws is the fact that all this talk about the male loneliness epidemic, but notice that no research has been done to split this group. In other words, in other words, there's a big difference between men who are lonely and men who prefer being alone. Men who are lonely from men who choose solitude. What's more ironic, you go to the Google search engine, you type in male solitude epidemic, and all they want to show you is all these clips talking about the male loneliness epidemic. So basically what they try to do is get into people's heads believing that all these men, all these men who are single somehow feel lonely. All these men want and need a woman with no regard to the men who would rather be alone, who rather live in solitude, who rather live in peace. Nope, no research on that at all. Oh, they just men who are lonely. They want a woman. Is that is that actually the case, or is this what they want us to believe? Is it really the case, or is it that this is what they want us to believe? These men are alone. Okay, okay. These men are single. They by themselves, so that automatically means they're lonely and they need someone in their life. Really now, is this is this what they mean by the male loneliness epidemic? Because I could easily challenge that in less than a minute, no problem at all. But here's the second flaw when it comes to their findings and research in regards to the quote unquote male loneliness epidemic. Look who look who are the ones making a big deal about it. And don't worry, Uncle JD can give you a hint. The hint is it's not the men who's making a big deal about it. And yes, and yes, while I was on that Google search, oftentimes the main ones making a big deal about the male loneliness epidemic are women. That's right. It's the women making a big deal about the male loneliness epidemic, which that don't sit right with me. Now, now the next question would be, why are the women so concerned about male loneliness epidemic more than the men? Because they trying to explain it through their lens. They trying to explain it through their perspective. So basically, this retarded fuck shit is more about women trying to inject their their diagnosis on the men. Case in point, case in point, women believe they women sitting here trying to act like Dr. Phil to these men. They want to sit there and have men believe that, okay, oh, I understand the mindset of these men and they're alone because they're lonely, while disregarding the men who rather want to be in peace and solitude. But then again, what the fuck does a woman know? Again and again, imagine those roles were reversed and you got men out here trying to try to talk about the female loneliness epidemic, and of course, what do we expect? You're being misogynist. Oh you hate women. So I'm guessing when the women doing it, somehow it's different. Somehow the rules change. Somehow they're exempt. And yet somehow they think if they talk about the male loneliness epidemic, that's gonna make men come back to them. That's gonna make men crawl and grovel to them. But then again, there are also women out there saying that they won't even date those men. So why the fuck is these women so goddamn concerned about something when they themselves are not a solution? I don't know. You even got women who feel bold enough to write books about this shit, and even they asses don't even know why these men chooses to be alone. They can only go by what they believe. They can only go by their perspective. And some of these books are 2, 3 years old, and 2, 3 years old, and they still surprised why there's no solution. Why the men ain't going back to them? But more importantly, but more importantly, speaking of Google, because yeah, they have a hand in this shit too. The second issue is look how look how social media, these search engines like Google and all these other one-sided, biased, retarded, fuck ass me media corporations is in there trying to push the shit, as if that's the problem men have. That's the problem men have in that shit. And let's be upfront and real. Call a ball and a strike. I don't trust Google worth a shit, especially when Google already been exposed for showing their bias, for having a bias when it comes to certain information. And I'm supposed to trust that shit? Get the fuck out of here. So of course they gonna push they gonna push that shit like wildfire. They're gonna sit there and try to make it seem like, oh, these men are alone because they're lonely, more than more than more than actually doing thorough research and actually break it down. How many men feel lonely and how many men are okay being in solitude, being at peace? But then again, Google is known for kissing these women and feminists' asses, so I don't trust them worth a damn. And there you have it. Out of all the flaws, I just point out three major flaws when it comes to this quote unquote male loneliness epidemic: the bias, the one sidedness, and the fact that this shit is coming from women, not the men. And why is that? Because it's the women that fit that criteria better. And let Uncle JD say this as well. Contrary to popular belief and what you are being told, because I did my own digging, and ain't it funny? When I asked the question, when I asked the question, can you tell the difference? What is the difference between male loneliness epidemic and the male solitude epidemic? Not only they only showed the male loneliness epidemic, but when I go back to do research, and keep in mind, I visit 5 sites that claim to do research. And each and every one of them, one, two, three, four, five, all came up with mixed results. One site saying one thing, another site saying something different. Go to another site as a game breaker, their findings is different from the last two, four, five, completely different. So basically, their findings are completely inadequate, inaccurate. That right there that right there lets you know that this shit is flawed and bullshit. And the fact that this is coming from a woman's perspective, not a man's perspective, that right there should tell you something. And once again, we have a case of women trying to speak for men. Women think women think that they under women think they know what men want, when in reality they don't know shit. Just like vice versa. Just like vice versa. Men don't know what women want either. And I could be brutally honest with that. But what makes these women think that they know what men want? Besides the men in their circle. Oh, I forgot another flaw. And the last and final flaw is not all men, and I repeat, not all men have been studied. There are cases where men there there are cases of men who haven't even took this of men who are completely left out the loop. So basically, these fight this male loneliness epidemic bullshit ass findings is coming from is coming from certain men that women either dealt with or been around. I won't be surprised that I won't be surprised that these findings I won't be surprised that these findings came from one state, one city, and that's it, not on a broader scale. So basically, so basically, only I say a handful has been registered for these findings and research, not the vast majority as a whole. And yes, ladies, there is such a thing as a male solitude epidemic. In case y'all ain't that smart and educated enough to understand and know that. And as I said before, Uncle JD is more than willing to debate, to challenge and debate these findings and research on that matter. No backing down. But I highly doubt I highly doubt none of these retarded fucks has the balls to challenge me on that shit. Word is born at that. But nevertheless, I said what I had to say. I'm done, and I'm out this bitch. Shut later from Texas.